guys, welcome to Let Me Tell Ya. I have a special guest briefly here with me today. Hi.
Hello.
This is my husband, Steven.
Hi.
So today's Let Me Tell Ya is going to be my last boy story that I put on this channel. I started,
That's all I am, a boy story.
I wanted Let Me Tell Ya to be started with a lot of story time, just like mostly boy stories and kind of my past from the very beginning, like literally like 5 years old I think was my first story. So if you watch them all, you kind of learn my whole life story in boy talk.
Boy. Oh.
Today is going to be the last boy story on the channel, but it's a special one because, well, when this is posted, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So I thought it was the perfect time to do my love story.
Aww.
And today's story is going to be all about how I met and fell in love and married this guy. I thought that you guys should get a look at the man I'm going to be talking about for the rest of the episode before he goes off and does his own thing and I chat about how we met and everything. We both believe our story is beautiful. And
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And hopefully some inspiration that real love is out there. And also just to say happy Valentine's Day and tell our love story. Alright you guys, let's get right to this story, but before we do, please subscribe, because at 500 subscribers...
Doing a giveaway.
Boom.
Boom.
Let's do this. I guess it's a good place to start saying that I went into my junior year of college, so I was 20 years old, and I had just had a rough summer, you know, getting hurt by a summer fling. Don't we all go through that at least once? I was feeling a little lost. It was a really rough time. I went to a dorm event and I met some friends and I met this guy and I thought he was really great. He was funny and stuff. It's not my husband, by the way. At the very beginning of the year, there was a concert on campus. There always was, like right before classes started, there was always a concert on campus. In this particular year, it was the band Augustana. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they broke up shortly after this. So yeah, I'm going there with this friend of mine and her and I are waiting off to the side because we got there super early, but I'm a huge fan of being up front at concerts. That's like my thing. I love being up front if I can get there. Her and I were waiting off to the side because there was nobody there yet, and then people started coming, so we're like, oh my gosh, we have to get up there, we have to get up on stage. The reason I'm telling you all this detail, by the way, is because all the detail matters. It just is kind of all together as to like how amazing and magical this is. So bear with me. So we're standing up front. First, this girl comes up next to us and she was just like, do you like Augustana? And I was like, yeah, I don't really know the music, but I'm excited for the concert. And she was like, oh my gosh, they're my favorite band. And anyways, she was very talkative and very friendly, which I'm very, very grateful for. A little bit later, a group of people come up and meet up with her. And she says, oh my gosh, you should meet my friends. And she points out these people and like a few different girls. And then she points out this guy, Steven. And I thought he was really cute, like immediately. I thought he was so cute. And I had this feeling in my stomach about him. And we all just kind of hung out during the concert. Before the concert, for like a half hour, they were just playing music over the speakers. And so we were all just kind of dancing and I kept like making glances at him. And it was just this like connection, right? I can't exactly explain it to you guys, but I am not kidding when I tell you that I literally thought to myself, what if he's my soulmate? And then I was like, well, that's silly. I literally have not even said any more than hi. So while that was on my mind, I turned to his friend, the first one that had talked to me at the concert, and I asked her, does Steven have a girlfriend? And she was like, yeah, he does. Great. And then she says, wait, maybe not. Wait, actually, they might have broken up. Little bit of forward story on that really quick. He tells me, like, down the road later, that he had literally told her that he broke up with his girlfriend like an hour before that. So yeah, they were broken up. You might recognize this most popular song by this band, and which will now forever be seared in my memory in a good way as a song that is almost an anthem to the time we met, even though it's not the happiest song in the world. And that song is definitely kind of how I was feeling, honestly, right before I met him. I don't stay the whole concert because I actually wasn't feeling very well. I remember being a little nauseous and I think I had to pee, like really bad. So I left, and when I was leaving, I made eye contact with Steven, and it was this like prolonged like walking around him, like, you know, like that. So as I made my way back to my dorm, and even though I hadn't said really anything to him, I could not stop hearing this song in my head. I literally was hearing that song in my head like non-stop because it felt so like how I'd been feeling. So the next weekend I actually was gonna go hang out with that girl from the concert. We were gonna hang out, and he was supposed to come to hang out with us too. So she said that all day long she'd been trying to get a hold of him and she couldn't. And I was like, give me his number. I'll do it. I'll call him. And then I was like, this is creepy. Okay, never mind. I decided not to. I thought it would be weird. He never showed up and never talked to either of us, and I'm sitting here thinking, darn it, I really, really liked him and I really wanted to see him again. Time just kind of went on. I swear Enchanted was stuck in my head for a whole month and I was seeing that guy I was telling you about that I met at the beginning of the year. It wasn't anything serious. It was just kind of like hanging out, playing video games and whatever, and that started to go south. I had an exam in one of my classes. Sometimes exams don't take the whole like hour and a half. I was like, well, I'll just go to my next class and I will wait for class to start. So I walked to my next class building and I opened the door, and there's Steven, like a beacon of light, walking past me. And I remember my heart just like leaped. I was so excited. I just called out to him, Steven, and he turned and looked at me and he was like, hey, you, because he did not remember my name. And he was just like, and I was just like, it's Ellie. And he was like, oh yeah. We talked for a little bit and he was like, you know, we should hang out sometime. And I was like, you're right, we totally should. And he was like, should I give you my number? Yeah, I already have your number. I know, I admitted it. What kind of crazy person am I? I just was like, yeah, I've had your number for like a month. I'm the creeper over here who's been hiding your number in her phone, like, hey. So he was like, oh, well, and he laughed it off. He thought it was funny, and he was like, well, you should text me, and we should hang out. So I didn't give him mine. So it was kind of like ball in my court, which I definitely prefer. It came out later that was actually the only day that entire semester that his teacher let them out early. And we ran into each other. What are the odds of that? Another week goes by actually, and remember I told you I was seeing another person, and even though that was not going well, I just wanted to make sure that was over before I called Steven. And one day it was just, I had had enough, and that story is not even worth it, so don't worry about it. Not even worth your time. Not even worth your time. I asked him to meet me on campus, not Steven, the guy I was seeing. I asked him to meet me up on campus if I wanted to talk to him, and he was like, can we just do this tomorrow? And I was like, no, meet me on campus. We're doing this now. And I broke up with him, basically. And I literally am walking back to my dorm, and I text Steven and say, hey, wanna hang out? And we did hang out that night, and it's like we never stopped. We hung out like every single day after that, and I don't even think there was a day where we didn't until later, obviously, because you don't spend every single day with anybody. Hanging out, getting to know each other a little bit, talking to each other about our likes and dislikes and a little bit of our story and that kind of thing. And it definitely is revealed that he likes music, and I love music. I love to sing, I love to write music, and he plays guitar and writes and sings. Girls, you know those musicians. Ooh. So I asked him to play me something, and he started playing an original song on his guitar. So not only is he playing me a song on his guitar, but he's singing to me, and it's his own music. I about died. I, being the gutsy one that I am and was, I was listening to him play, just like totally enthralled, and I was like, will you marry me? We had a good laugh. Yeah, and it was one of those things where you're still like so nervous, like you don't want to scare them away or ask them to hang out too much because you don't want to seem pushy or clingy or anything, but it was so easy with us the whole time, and that's what was so beautiful about it. It didn't matter, like, we both wanted to hang out with each other, so it was never like an issue. So while we were kind of getting started and flirty, and this was probably in the first couple weeks we were hanging out, I remember one day he brought me coffee in a coffee mug. Like, he made coffee at home and brought it to me outside my dorm to walk me to class. Sweet. That night we were hanging out, and I remember telling him I really liked that morning, and I said, do you want to walk me to class again tomorrow? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I already have plans to bring another girl coffee tomorrow morning. I believed him 100%, and I remember the moment everything felt like it was crashing down. I was just like, oh, okay. And it was like, okay, this isn't gonna work. He's done. He doesn't like me. He's still dating other people. Apparently this isn't for us. On the outside I was very calm. I was like, oh, okay. And then he was just like, I'm kidding. And I was like, oh. And he's like, it's you. Oh. I felt kind of stupid. We both still make fun of me for that one. So he graduated in the winter that year, but he had one more class that he technically had to take. So I knew that he was going to be coming back to campus, but he didn't have to come back to campus for a couple weeks into that semester, I believe. He was going to be getting back on a Wednesday, and the plan was he was going to meet me outside of my class when he got into town, because it was going to be about that timing, and that was the plan. So Tuesday, the day before that, he's not texting me at all. He's not answering my texts. He's not texting me. That's totally unlike us. We are like little text boogers. Boogers. It was really weird to me that he wasn't texting me. I called him at one point, and he told me that he was watching a movie with his family. They were having like a movie day, because since he was going to be leaving the next day, they were just having a family day, and that's why he wasn't answering his texts or his phone calls. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I guess you are going to be gone for like another 6 months. So, okay, fine. I understand. So then he was just like, just to give you a heads up, I'm probably not going to be able to talk or text the rest of the day. Okay, I feel a little bit better now, but something still just felt a little off. And later that night, I'm just hanging out in my dorm, and I get a phone call, and it's Steven, and he says, so I feel really bad for not talking to you all day, so I had my friend put like together a little care package for you, and they left it outside the front door of your dorm. And I was just like, that's weird. And then I was like, wait, all the pieces came together, and it was like, oh, he's here, like, you're a liar. And I like ran out of my dorm, and I ran outside, and sure enough, there he was standing outside my dorm. It was snowing, it was beautiful. He was driving all day to get to school, and there was a horrible snowstorm, but he really wanted to surprise me. And a lot of stuff came out later about this, like his mom was like really not wanting him to go that day, but he was absolutely insistent that he go. That boy went through a lot to get to me early. I mean, the pass that he had to drive over was even closed on his way, and then just in a huge snowstorm, like, he went through it to get to me early. One of my favorite moments that him and I have ever had together. It was around this time that we also decided that Enchanted by Taylor Swift was our song, because I told him about how Enchanted was like the song that was in my head when I first met him, even though we were like barely dating yet. And I want you to keep in mind that Enchanted is our song. That school year finishes up, and he was done with school for good, and I still had one more year left. And I visited him quite a lot that summer, got really close with his family, and that was another great thing that was going on, is I loved his family, and they love me, I think. Who doesn't want to love their in-laws? Because yeah, I was already thinking about marrying him, duh. Had a little bit of a rougher time with mine. My dad, you know, I'm his little girl, and I don't have any siblings, so you can imagine how tightly he held on. They love each other now, so that's good. And then what was really hard is that my senior year was long distance. We lived between 6 and 7 hours apart, depending on traffic and weather. But at the time, what felt like a song that was kind of our like anthem, long distance relationship. You know, a lot of people always say long distance doesn't work, it's too difficult, you're gonna drift apart, like blah 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 blah. Well, you know what, here's what I have to say.
1,000 miles seems pretty far, but they've got planes and trains and cars. I'd walk to you if I had no other way. Delilah, I can promise you that by the time we get through, the world will never ever be the same.
Seriously, exactly how it felt. That school year goes by, we're just getting closer and closer. At this point, we've been dating for well over a year. Once I graduated, my dad had told me he was glad I was happy and all these things. A lot of you girls out there probably understand what I mean. Like, it's like a big step once dad or mom, depending on how your family is, says, I'm just glad you're happy. That's a step. That is a good step. So I had gotten into a grad school actually in Steven's hometown, and he was living there still. He moved into an apartment with a friend and was kind of working on getting his career off the ground still. And once again, we were together in the same place, which was so wonderful because we hadn't been in the same place in quite a while. I moved into an apartment and we resumed from there. The following summer, he got a job like 2 hours away from where my school was, so once again, we were long distance for another year, and that was hard, especially with the stress of grad school. And it was a rough year, but we never stopped loving each other. It was just hard. And then once I graduated grad school, I moved in to the house he was living in with some friends, and so I was basically just added as another roommate there. We lived there for a little while, and I had a job, and oh man, it was rough because I was commuting like 3 hours or more a day total, and it was really hard, and we barely got any time together, and it was hard for a while, but we definitely got through it. We started getting stronger and stronger, and definitely made the decision, okay, this can't happen anymore. I need a job closer because this is ridiculous. And so we decided that I would get a job really close to his job so that we could get an apartment together that was really close to both of our jobs and kind of start our life together. I was on my last day at my previous job, and I remember like people wanted to go out to dinner. A bunch of people from work wanted to go out to dinner, and then I told Steven that, and he was like, no, we should go out to dinner. I want to celebrate with you that your job is ending. And it was so easy for me because honestly I wasn't really close with anyone there anyways, so it was really easy for me to be like, okay, you and I will go to dinner instead then. And he asked me where I wanted to go to dinner, and I picked a place in Alki in Seattle because that's near the area where we lived, and I picked a burger place there that we went to a lot while we lived in West Seattle, and it was like perfect that night, I gotta tell ya. So when we get there, first of all, there's one other group of people there, and there's live music playing, which never happens at this place. It was just this guy and his guitar. The other people left, and he was like, do you guys have any requests since you're the only people in here? He played Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran without us even asking, which I thought was really cute. And then that's when he asked if we had any requests. I said, do you know any Hanson? Totally thinking he wouldn't, because I mean, they're not a super popular band. I love them. If you have watched my channel at all, you know they're my favorite band. And I was like, yeah, do you know any Hanson? And he was like, yeah, I know some Hanson. What? Everything that night felt interesting. It just, something was in the air. And he played 3 Hanson songs. And so Steven after dinner was like, do you want to go for a walk? It's not too bad outside. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not really raining. It's not really cold. Yeah, let's do that. So we started going for a walk, and I noticed he was super lovey. But the thing is, he's always super lovey, so it wasn't like super weird. It was just like, I definitely noticed he was cuddly. And I see in the distance these people walking around really strangely, and it kind of looked like zombies. Like, that's the only way I could describe it. Like, their heads were like hanging low, and they were like walking around like really slowly, staring at the ground. I kid you not, it was really creepy. We kept walking down the beach, and I noticed some lights off in the distance, and I thought maybe it was like somebody had combed out their fire, and I was like, oh, that's probably what those people were doing. They were probably combing out their fire, and I just couldn't tell because this is at night. It's really dark outside. We get a little closer, and I realized that they are candles. And I was like, is this some kind of like satanic ritual or something? I kid you not, I was thinking that in my head. And then we get closer, and I notice a red like velvet knee pad on the ground. And my head, silly me, thinks, aw, someone got proposed to. Oh, and he is guiding me into the middle of the circle, and I don't remember a word he said, but I'm sure it was beautiful because I was so, like, surprised. He actually surprised me. I mean, up to the very last minute, I'm like, oh, looks like somebody's getting proposed to. Turned out that his cousin had helped set up the proposal area, and it was beautiful. And the very next day, my mom came to help us move to our apartment, and so that's when we told her we were engaged, and she was all excited for us, and it was beautiful. You know, months go by, we're planning our wedding, and we get married. Da, 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 da. Over, just kidding. And it comes time for me to go dress shopping. So I go dress shopping with my bridesmaids, which are his sisters and my best friend, and then also my mom and his mom came with me to go dress shopping. I found about 5 dresses that I really liked. Tried on all 5, and I remember the first one was really standing out in my head. I was like, okay, I have to try on the first one again because it really stood out to me. So I put the first dress back on, and I step out of the dressing room, and I'm standing there in the dress, and it doesn't take long for me to realize Enchanted is playing on the radio at the dress store. And I look at my best friend, and she's tearing up, and I'm tearing up, and I was like, Enchanted is playing, and she was like, I know, and then I just start bawling, and I was just like crying, and everybody else but me and Ariel had no idea what was going on, and they're all just like, are you okay, what's going on? And I was just like, this is me and Steven's song playing on the radio right now as I'm trying on a dress. And I was like, this is clearly the dress. That was a moment that not only solidified for me that that was my dress, but solidified for me that he was my soulmate. It just felt like perfect, because Enchanted is not a song that plays on the radio. It wasn't a single, if anybody realizes that. It was completely random, and it happened to be playing when I put on a dress. And it was a beautiful moment for me. However cliche it might be, I of course walked down the aisle to this. That song meant a lot to me. It's about a bride walking down an aisle. I mean, that's what the song is, and it was exactly how it felt to me. Like, every minute had led to that moment. Also, like the perfect little cliche, we danced to this.
Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70.
And way beyond that.
People fall in love in mysterious way. Well, me, I fall in love with you every single day.
And it was also beautiful. Our wedding was amazing, and then we went to Maui, and the whole time we were there, Lucky by Colby Calais and Jason Mraz was stuck in my head I don't know what this was, the whole time. Here we are today. We live back in his hometown, actually. We moved back up here because Seattle was just a little too much for us, and we're both very happy and kind of just getting life together, you know, just figuring it out step by step. And I love our story, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. This felt like the perfect time to share our story with you guys, my subscribers, and anybody else who finds this. I really do hope that it inspires you that real love is out there, and it happens I know it's so cliche, but it seriously happens at the most unexpected time, and for both of us, that's exactly what it was. I mean, both of us were basically like, I'm done, and then we found each other. So it really does happen that way sometimes. That is my love story with my husband. I think it's beautiful. It seems to me like everything just seemed to line up exactly the way it was supposed to, and that we were truly meant for each other, and I love that about our story. Thank you guys so much for going through this entire video and hearing my love story, and I hope that you find that it warms your heart a little bit and maybe inspires you a little bit. If you've been really badly hurt, especially recently, I want you to know that that doesn't mean it's over, and that every single love that you have in your life will end until one doesn't. And I think that is a huge thing to remember. Try to pick yourself up. move forward because he or she is out there and you will find them. Thank you guys so much for watching Let Me Tell Ya. Let Me Tell Ya is not going away, just the boy story part of Let Me Tell Ya is going away. From now on it'll be Q&As or other random story times. Well, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching Let Me Tell Ya. Please subscribe and hit the tempting red button right there down below my video, and I will see you later.